Dawn ushers in another working day on North America's greatest lake. 31,700 square miles and the freshest water in the world, Lake Superior is a global treasure, cherished by all who come in contact with it. With 10% of the world's fresh water, Lake Superior's 3 quadrillion gallons of Earth's most precious commodity is perhaps North America's most important natural resource. The Native Americans called Lake Superior Gitchagumi, the shining big sea water. But the French explorers and fur traders named it Superior for the upper lake. And Superior it has been since it emerged from the glaciers that scoured its shores 11,000 years ago. And Superior it remains. Lake Superior is more than the world's greatest reservoir of fresh water. It is a critical component of the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway System, the unique binational inland waterway that connects the heartland of North America with the Atlantic Ocean. Stretching 380 miles from Duluth Superior on the west to the Soo Locks on the east, from Minnesota and Ontario on the north to the Wisconsin-Michigan shoreline on the south, Lake Superior is part of the world's most efficient inland waterway. Grain from the port of Duluth Superior reaches the deep waters of the St. Lawrence River in less than 5 days sailing time for either transshipment or direct delivery almost anywhere in the world. Millions of tons of commerce annually move through the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence River. In a typical year, more cargo moves across the Great Lakes than through the Panama Canal. For more than a century and a quarter, Duluth Superior has been the preeminent port on the Great Lakes. From the early days when ore boats and timber packets began hauling the bountiful natural resources of the upper Great Lakes, to the growing urban areas of the lower Midwest, Duluth Superior established a reputation as one of America's great ports. For much of the 20th century, the sister cities at the western tip of Lake Superior have ranked among the top ports nationally in tonnage handled. Cargo flowing from the head of the lakes today continues to outstrip the annual tonnage of ports in bigger cities like Chicago, Boston, Miami, San Francisco, and Detroit. Because of its orientation to the lake, Duluth has always looked outward to the world. The 1959 opening of the St. Lawrence Seaway made Duluth Superior a true world port.
We'd always had exposure to international markets, but this really broadened it. This really opened it up. And all of a sudden we saw large, competitive ships coming in here with cargoes from all over the globe, and the flags and the faces of countries all over the earth, and it was really an exciting time.
Duluth Superior is and always has been a working port. Its 49 miles of waterfront contain 17 miles of dredged channels and nearly 30 docks handling commodities from iron ore to coal, limestone to grain, general cargo to cement. 6 railroads and an extensive highway system serve the port, making Duluth Superior one of the major intermodal centers in North America. The harbor is dominated by the sentinels of industrial civilization: grain terminal elevators, ore docks, coal and limestone facilities, cement silos, a shipyard. The Kluwer Public Marine Terminal has 300,000 square feet, 7 acres of warehouse storage, and includes 7 vessel berths and gantry cranes that tackle the Seaway's biggest heavy lift cargoes. Cargo handling is a labor-intensive task, and the harbor has been providing family wage jobs to dock workers, warehousemen, grain millers, truckers, railroaders, pilots, tug crews, ship chandlers, dredgemen, and dozens of other skilled trades for more than a century. The people who make Duluth Superior a working port have the equipment, dedication, and know-how to ensure that this will be a productive trade center in the 21st century.
The port is an extension of the iron mines of northeastern Minnesota, of the grain fields of the west, of the coal mines to the far west. It unites a region. It brings people together internationally, regionally, and locally to make it work. This port handles natural resources, raw materials that fuel steel making, power production, food making. The fact that we're so close to the production of those raw materials, I think gives this port a lot of strength for decades to come.
Almost from the start, this has been a bulk port. Maritime commerce of 40 million tons a year, including the bulk commodities of iron ore pellets, grain, limestone, and coal, makes Duluth-Superior a major force in sustaining and enhancing the economic viability of the North American heartland. More than 1,000 vessels call here annually, most of them loading or unloading the bulk cargoes for which the port is renowned. Duluth-Superior plays a significant role in the export of spring wheat, durum wheat, barley, and oil seeds to world markets. Ocean-going and lake vessels load the agricultural bounty of Minnesota, the Dakotas, and other western prairie lands for international distribution. Grain loaded in Duluth becomes bread in the Netherlands, pasta in Italy, couscous in North Africa, and livestock feed in the Middle East. The port is a vital link in the sophisticated transportation chain that helps to feed a hungry world. Ever since the opening of northern Minnesota's Iron Range in the 1880s and 1890s, Duluth-Superior has enjoyed a relationship with the mining industry of the Lake Superior region. Iron ore from the Mesabi Range flowed through the Mesaba docks in Duluth and the Eloise docks in Superior in an unending stream for much of this century, destined for the steel mills on the lower Great Lakes. Minnesota's iron ore helped the United States win 2 world wars, build high-rise office buildings, interstate highways, and moon rockets, and help transform American society in the 20th century. The recent revitalization of the nation's iron and steel industry has spurred a resurgence of ore production and shipments through Lake Superior. High-quality ore pellets transformed from raw taconite rock now represent roughly 50% of the harbor's annual commerce.
The vast majority of the taconite that moves is moved via ship. The ships, the 1,000-footers, can carry up to 68,000 tons of taconite in one trip. They are loaded very efficiently in 4 hours and then moved down the lakes. The Port of Duluth is far and away the largest mover of taconite pallets of the Great Lakes, of the Lake Superior ports.
For much of its early existence, Duluth-Superior was a coal port, handling more than 10 million tons of inbound eastern coal a year. Changes in energy consumption patterns doomed that trade, but like the mythical phoenix, Duluth-Superior's coal trade rose from the ashes. In the 1970s, shipments of low-sulfur coal from the Powder River Basin of Montana and Wyoming began to move outbound through the twin ports in ever-increasing volumes. Destined primarily for electric power generating stations on the lower lakes, low-sulfur coal has become an increasingly important bulk cargo for the twin ports. In 1994, more than 13 million tons of low-sulfur coal flowed out of Duluth-Superior, breaking the record for inbound coal tonnage set in 1923. Moreover, the 1994 record has since been challenged, and new markets are emerging in Canada as well as overseas.
It's a significant trend, and we anticipate that the use of Western coal on the Great Lakes will continue off into the future, and I think in a very short period of time will certainly be more than half of all the coal moved on the Great Lakes. It's not only is it environmentally clean, it's also very acceptable as far as a delivered price with regard to potential users. it's a very competitively priced product. So it'll have a very strong interest, we think, into the future.
The first column of numbers is the budget that we're currently working under.
The day-to-day operations of maritime commerce in the Twin Ports are professionally handled by the private sector, working in concert with various federal, state, and local public agencies. The Seaway Port Authority of Duluth, created by the state of Minnesota in 1955, serves as the port's principal marketing, promotional, legislative, and development arm. Guided by a 7-member board of commissioners appointed by the City Council, County Board, and State Governor, the Port Authority also is an owner of prime real estate on the waterfront, as well as at Air Park, a self-contained industrial park located adjacent to the Duluth International Airport.
The Port Authority is not the port, so it's just a part of the port. And our role as a public body is to encourage commerce through our port where we can. We also have a role in industrial development throughout the region, particularly in the city of Duluth and the county of St. Louis. So our role is really twofold, to bring commerce and to bring development to the port and to the city.
In the final analysis, Duluth Superior is greater than the sum of its parts. It is a world port, a domestic port, a grain port, an iron ore port, a coal port, and much more. Above all, it is a working port. Its people are dedicated professionals, moving the commodities that make the heartland of North America such a dynamic force in the ever-changing world of waterborne transportation. As one century fades and another one dawns, Duluth Superior and its fabled inland sea endure as shining treasures of the Great Lakes.